What's up, everybody? This is Corey from How To Tech, and we're going to do a quick fix of this iPhone 7 screen. We're going to go ahead and remove both pentalobe screws from the bottom of the phone to the left and the right of the charge port. Get these both out of here. We're going to go ahead and remove the screen. I do like to use just a little bit of heat. I want to make sure it's nice and warm. You can use a hair dryer. I'm using a hot air gun. Pop our little metal pry tool underneath right below the home button to get us started. Then switch to a plastic tool like a guitar pick. We'll insert that just to the side and work that around the frame. You want to go all the way down both sides, but stop short just the top of the phone, as there are some clips at the top that hold it in. We'll have to wiggle it free. Work our way around the opposite side of the phone, just all the way up. If you do need to reapply heat here, you can do that as well, just to make it a little bit easier. It's not extremely difficult. You'll see some adhesive on the phone. Just go ahead and break this off as you work your way around. And then we're going to have to wiggle it back and forth down here at the top. There is adhesive at the top of the phone, preventing it from just sliding open. And we'll have to wiggle that back and forth to get it nice and open. 2 ribbon cables, one near the camera and then one down by the display. We'll need to open it like a book so we don't damage these cables. Let's get it right open. Now we can go ahead and remove these 4 tri-wing screws, 000 tri-wings. And then we can remove the cover off of the interior of the phone. Pop right off. We'll remove the battery connector, just snaps right off. And then the 2 connectors for the screen, one for the display and one for the digitizer. We'll need to do the same thing for the camera. We have 1 screw on the interior on the left, just right above the battery, 1 screw on the right side. It's easier to get to if you fold the screen back open. With both of those screws removed, which are Phillips screws, we can pop the cover off just right below the camera and undo the cable connecting this. We can remove our screen now. We need to do these 3 screws here, which are to hold the metal plate on the top, these 2 yellow screws here to remove the loudspeaker off of the phone. With those removed, we actually have free access to our cable. The hardest part to get the cable out is the proximity sensor. Sometimes it gets stuck in there. You may have to use a tool to kind of pull it up. The cable is held with some light adhesive, so just be careful and take your time as you're pulling it out. Moving down to the home button, remove all 4 screws down here at the bottom. We can go ahead and pull the bracket off of here and then twist to disconnect the ribbon cable holding the home button to the display. Remove these 6 screws off the metal plate on the back of the LCD. Not very hard to do. Pull it up now. There is some adhesive holding the ribbon cable to this plate, so be careful as you remove it. I like to fold it open a little bit and then just use our spudger to kind of pry it off. It does take a little bit of time. You could possibly use some heat here as well, but it's not stuck on very well. Pull the home button out. We will need to transfer that to our new phone, as well as any small pieces that your phone display does not come with. Those plastic pieces at the top there. We'll go ahead and reassemble, put our bracket back on, make sure the ribbon cable is underneath the back of this, especially where the little L elbow comes in place. Put back in our 6 screws down the sides of the phone, and then we can go ahead and put our home button back in, just sliding it up and making sure it's underneath the ribbon cable that slides under the display. We can go ahead and reattach that cable. Let's give it a little press, it'll snap right back in place. Put our bracket back in, put all 4 screws back in place. Work our way up here, the ribbon cable, starting with the proximity sensor first, which is the hardest part to get out, and then fold the portion over at the top, and then just use something to make sure it's kind of stuck in place. There are 2 pegs down here at the bottom to line the bottom of it up, and then we'll just need to make sure we get this little portion here at the top just kind of pressed in place and held down. Then we can go ahead and take our loudspeaker, put that in place, and then put in the 2 screws that hold this loudspeaker in place. With that done, we can go ahead and reattach the bracket across the top, and then put in the 3 screws that are holding that bracket in place. Now that's the reassembly of the screen. We can go ahead and reattach it to the body of the phone. Start here at the top with the camera, loudspeaker, ribbon cable. A lot more flexibility on this one than it is for the display cables. I'd start here first. Push in the interior display cable first, and then the exterior one. Snap that just back in place. Just don't give them a lot of force until you have them lined up properly. Press in our battery. Reattach the 4 screws and the bracket that places here. We'll do the same thing with our camera. Put the bracket in, put the first screw in, and then fold it over and put the second screw in, just right here. Now with that done, we can just go ahead and reattach our display to the phone itself. And to do that, we're just going to fold it over, pull it down a little bit, push the top part in, and then in and underneath to make sure that those 2 hooks lock in at the front of the phone. Then we can work our way down and snap it in place. Work both sides and make sure that the screen just pops back in. Then we can take our 2 pentalobe screws, reinsert those back into the phone. One for each side. These don't have to be extremely tight, but just a little snug to make sure that the phone doesn't pull up. And with that done, we can go ahead and power it on and test. And it is a fully functional phone now. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.